Welcome to the OBT Show.
Hi.
I'm Chris.
I'm Brendan.
I'm staring at my phone.
I know, that's our fact-checking device from here on out because we realized, again, this is the ninth one?
Ninth, yeah.
This is the ninth, and we're just now getting around to making sure we have something to check our facts on, whereas before we're like, that game's coming out tomorrow!
Professionalism.
Wrong. No notes. No fact-checking. All balls. The OBT Show.
Because we make the news.
We make the news all the time.
We decide that if the game's coming out tomorrow, people are going to be banging on the doors at Ubisoft. We want the game now.
Exactly, and we are so good that we don't even promote when we're on. We forgot to. We were on WFNP a couple weeks ago when I was on vacation down in the city, and then WFNP was nice enough to ask me during spring break, which our campus is on, to New Paltz, to say, hey, do you want to submit some content? I talked to Chris. We were both excited. I gave him the podcast we put up last week, and they edited it, and they put a lot of work into it, making sure it could edit, and we're like, this is so great. And then Wednesday was when I remembered, and Tuesday was the show.
Yeah, the day after.
I woke up and went, shit. And we totally forgot.
It's what happens when you get to a height of popularity.
Yeah.
That you just, like, you book events and they occur, and you just gotta blame them on, like, you know, crazy alcohol binge.
Which it never happens. So that's not even an excuse. It's not like
a good excuse.
Because we're living the high life at the OBT Show, making $0.
Hey, and 0 cents, mind you.
0.00. That's like that in that Animal House. Is my favorite quote.
I'm a zit. Get it? When he smacks his face.
Oh,
with
the best is when he calls out one of the kids' names, and the kid goes, hello, and he goes, 0.0.
Yeah.
Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, son. I want you all to know I have taken the liberty of notifying all the draft boards in your local areas that you are all eligible for the draft.
How many times have you seen this movie?
Hundreds. I love that. But so now we're back. We didn't pod. I got crazy busy last week with work.
He didn't want to hang out with me.
That's the truth.
It's okay. It happens.
I ended up just crying in my bathtub, fully clothed in water, because I'm an artist. So
it's wearing water.
I'm wearing water. It's a thing. Wearing water is going to be my new photo book I'm publishing in June. Wearing water.
I just got like a huge like rush of images of people just like posing, and it's just like there's just water on them. They're like, "What's up? You like this? This is the spring line."
They're in water. My name is Claude, and my new outfits are called They're in water.
I call this one liquid reflection.
This one is called Flowing Rage.
Okay, let's go on point. All right, what are we talking about today?
We're talking about fashion.
Oh, God. No, we're talking about a game that both of us have played for
Tomb Raider.
Maybe an hour. You played more than I
played.
did.
No, I played for... Honestly, I played for like an hour. I played for about the same amount. I did the whole intro. You took up...
You got the crap out of the way for me.
I got all that boring bullshit that the games think we want. Which is good. It's a good point. Actually, I have to say, Tomb Raider was actually really good on the front end. It wasn't a long exposition where they kind of just went, bam, Lara's on a ship gets into a storm, Lara crashes, and then you immediately get into the action of where you're tied up. And it is really a creepy sequence because you have to sway back and forth. You're tied up upside down, light yourself on fire, and then when she falls, she gets punctured by some steel nail through her entire side. So I thought it was interesting. It's a big departure from general Tomb Raider games where it's not, and it's a prequel. I think that's how they marketed it, right?
Because it's before the dinosaurs.
Before the dinosaurs. Which game was that in?
Shoot. I think that was like the
third one?
Yeah.
I forgot about that. What was the context for that?
I don't know. I just remember she was in like the jungle and she was fighting either velociraptors and T-Rexes or one or the other.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. And then there's the one that was in where all of a sudden instead of tomb raiding, you were raiding mansions. Remember she was in the black outfit and she was more, it was an urban rating. Remember that? I
didn't
hated that.
quite like that experience.
What was that one called? Like Tomb Raider Forever or something? It was something terrible.
It was Tomb Raider. We shouldn't have made it.
It was Tomb Raider. We've run out of ideas, and we have nothing else to do. I remember distinctly looking at it like, this isn't Tomb Raider. And the box was like, explore mansions. I'm like, that's breaking and entering.
I mean,
Raider.
It was basically a setup for the sequel, Tomb Raider. We're doing this just because we can. And now is a great game also.
Yeah.
No,
terrible. So, and the franchise definitely lost its way throughout the years because I think there's I think it was a combination of popularity with needing to rush things and get it out, and boobs.
Oh, I thought that was the popularity. It was just boobs.
That was, looking back, like, how sad were we all? But I guess we were young and we were like, she has giant boobs.
What, with the boob code?
Yeah.
Like, you could...
What was that
when in the first game, you could glitch the game out so where she would lose her shirt or something.
Yeah.
And she would be naked.
Did you do that?
No, I thought that was only something you could do on the computer.
You busted out your PlayStation 1 like, there must be a way.
I just remember when I was playing Tomb Raider games that I was focused on getting the guns at the mansion practice area and keeping the butler locked in the freezer. Like, that was my main goal every time I turned the game on. I didn't even play most of the game half the time.
You could do that in the game?
Yeah, you open up the walk-in freezer refrigerator combo.
Yeah.
And then get him to follow you in, run outside, shoot him a bunch of times because he holds up his little butler pan. Yeah. And then you just close the door and he's stuck locked inside.
It's so mean. Does he die?
I don't know. It's like The Sims. Does it matter?
Well, The Sims at least gives you some finality to that, so you know that he died.
Yeah, no. There's still
in this game world for 20 years. He's been trapped in the freezer.
There's a PS1 memory card floating around in my random things, and in that little memory spot is this guy locked in the freezer.
He's now 100 years old, but because of the freezing, he's allowed to live that long.
Hey, that's how Walt Disney did it.
That's terrible.
But to the new game,
right?
I didn't get to play the intro, so I had no kind of basis as far as the controls
went. Right, you just picked up
and went.
Did you find that easy?
Extremely responsive game.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little wonky with the camera, and I did get a little nauseous because it uses the cool shaky cam effect.
Yes.
So it's like you got your cinematic moment, but the whole time the cinematic moment's going on, it's like
right.
I mean, it's an intense game, so it makes sense, but at the same time, I was kind of like hoping it would be like the MGS solid camera,
right?
And it would just like hold Metal Gear Solid for those who don't know MGS.
Good call.
And it would just stay there, and she would do her things. Like, she would bandage wrap this one guy, and it wouldn't have to be so nauseous and vomit inducing.
Because the intro sequence, very quickly you realize that, kind of like a Call of Duty game, there are trigger sequences where you have to hit Y, or I don't know if you ran into those during your play.
I don't know.
Well, there's
I climbed things.
What's that?
I climbed things.
Well, I played a lot of it where again, being foreign to it, I died a lot early because there's one where you're climbing up a hill and you have to hit the LR triggers back and forth.
Because you're climbing. And
then you hit the button, not the R1 button, to go to the right, or L1 button to go to the left. And then there's sequences where are story driven where you have to hit Y at the right time or else you die. And something like one was really, it's very violent. One was like a guy that's about to like choke her out and you have to hit Y to kick him in the nuts, but I missed it. And then you literally watch Lara just get choked to death and die.
Oh.
And then there's one where she gets stabbed in the stomach and head if you're not dodging an arrow. Yeah, and then there was, what was the other? Oh, mauled to death by a wolf. I saw that sequence. So it's very like, ugh. I was like, no, this is terrible.
We need a sound effects board so I can just like hit a button and just go like, you knew it. You knew exactly.
I know exactly where you're going. Or just the general audience going,
poor Laura.
So that was, I liked it. I haven't finished it.
It was pretty.
Very beautiful.
I read an article that somebody wrote that was just describing it, basically saying the first playthrough is extremely horrifying because you're trying to keep this girl alive and you're really worried about it. And then once you beat it and you have the finality of, okay, she lives on and continues into becoming, Tomb Raider.
Tomb Raider.
You play through it a second time and you actually get to experience the game where you're like looking around at things like, man, this game is really pretty. Like, let's stop and look at this animal that's running by, and then there's the trees, and then there's the caves, and like it's like from the little bit I knew I wasn't gonna be able to finish the game, but since I was playing that little bit, I was just like looking at everything like, this game is really pretty.
It's a pretty game, and it also has a Resident Evil vibe to it. Mm-hmm. Which is, in a weird way, Resident Evil is lost in its many iterations past 4, really. 5 and 6 have kind of lost its way, where they're more action-oriented.
Was that because it's third person? Do you think it's got the Resident Evil vibe?
And also the one individual experience. It's not like multiple teams where 5 and 6 went off and then you have a partner and all this other crap. It's like you are in a foreign place. There's danger all around. You don't know where you're going. So every time you turn, there's like, holy shit, am I going to hit a wolf? Am I going to hit a guy that's going to shoot me? And
then, they use jump scares very well.
Yeah. And all that whole concept of being alone on your own, which Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3, not so much 3, but 1 and 2 and 4 did really well. Mm-hmm. I liked that, and I was like, okay, this is what I remember when I played Resident Evil. This is the feeling. I thought it was so funny that Eidos captured that within a Tomb Raider game, because I think that gave it a little more personality, the game, and I think the cut sequences weren't overly long. They weren't Metal Gear Solid length.
No, they were appropriate.
Or depth. They're appropriate, and they added to it, which I liked. And they didn't feel forced. It felt like you needed this story to get better background on the characters that are in Laura's life at this time.
Well, they got whoever they got to do the voice work is amazing.
Yeah.
Because like they had the older guy, and he's like his legs all chopped up because he was fighting wolves. And just the little part that I was watching, it was just like, you know, she gets the pack, comes back. They have this like moment of relief in talking, and then he's explaining to her that she's got to take a GPS up to a radio tower to, you know, boost the signal. And the look on her face, just like knowing, like, I'm going to be the one that has to do this. His leg's all messed up, so there's no way he's climbing up a mountain. And then just that little bit, it was like, it's appropriate. I get the feeling and I get the emotion, and then bam, I'm playing it. And I like my goosebumps start to go because I'm like, I gotta climb up a mountain. Oh, there's a bunch of dudes that are trying to kill me.
Right. And I like how you can utilize the bow and arrow in a different way. You can use it as distraction. You can use it as a silent kill. Like a tool. Right. You can use that as a tool. The gun. I like there's a sequence, and I read this review, a review of Tomb Raider, and I totally agree. There's a sequence early on where she has to use a gun. It's in the same sequence where she's getting choked out by an assailant, and it's very creepy because he's licking her ear like he's going to rape her before he kills her, and you hit the correct sequence, and then you pick up his gun, and they do a slow motion cut where you just don't have enough time to turn the gun around, and he's on top of you, and you have to hit the not trigger, what's the word, the button, not the bumper, it's the actual thing you use to move with your left thumb,
the left stick,
thank you. I was looking for like the Zodiac.
Yes, you have to use the Zodiac. And you have to flick that back and forth, and then you bust free, and then you hit the R2 trigger to shoot him, and you end up shooting him in the face, and they kind of do a slow motion where his like head explodes, and then there's just blood all over Lara, and she's crying, and she's on the ground, she's heavy breathing, but it's only comical because the next sequence is her just having no problem shooting dudes in the face, because then you take control as the player. Yeah. And you're just like, I'll use an arrow and shoot this guy in the head. And there's no like, okay, great that you kind of built this. She's never killed before, but there's no follow through. Yeah, there's no It's transition. Like all of a sudden she's like, one down, so many to go. I'm just going to kill like 1,000.
Then it's like, give me a goddamn shotgun, a machine gun, a power grade. You know, I'm going to shoot this guy in the neck from far away with my bow. You know, it just doesn't seem to be. And I agree, and I read that, I'm like, well, that's kind of, maybe it's going to be a bit better than this guy thought. No, it does feel that way, where you're way too comfortable shooting somebody, where almost it was too good of a sequence, too good of a cutscene to establish emotion.
And then not enough.
And not enough, like, maybe she gets, like, woozy if you use the gun too many times. That was something I was thinking of along the way, like, maybe a little gimmick to throw in the first, like, hour after you play and have her say something like...
Well, that makes sense. I mean, the adrenaline rush of, like...
Right.
I can't even imagine like having to do that to like protect yourself.
Right.
And then afterwards knowing that you're going to have to continue to keep doing it.
And maybe that's where it's a great debate that people have all the time. Is a video game really art in the sense of, and is it really a story if the elements that you're trying to build in cutscenes and in story are completely disrupted, and the cognitive dissonance of then you're having to go and shoot people multiple times with no follow-up, with no reaction, with no consequence.
Well, I mean, at the same, I mean, I can see where it would be an argument for that it's not, but at the same time, you have to think about like how much work is getting put into these games as far as like the amount that they're shoving onto one DVD.
Well, I think, yeah, okay.
And that is a beautiful game. So you know that they were pushing their limits as far as, you know, the amount of space that they can continue to put gameplay elements on top. And plus you have like the cool climbing sequences, and I just feel like they got to a point where they put their belt on and they were like, all right, this is the last, you know, extra loop that we're going to add. You know, we're just going to stop there and make it all good for what we got.
Well, I think within the medium of video games, there are, much like any medium of television, movies, there is going to be shit.
Yeah.
And there's going to be beautiful things that come from that. Like, yeah.
Iron Man the video game.
Iron Man the video game is shit. Iron Man the movie is fantastic, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You're looking at me like I'm crazy.
No, it's okay. Just keep going.
Just keep going. But I think when you then try to...
That's a debate for another day.
It's a debate for another... I liked it a lot. But then when you go take Tomb Raider, the video game, and then try to compare it as a storytelling device to, say, a novel or to another epic movie, I think that's where it loses some steam and loses some of the argument, because you are a third person in that perspective of a book and of a movie where you are interacting with the game. Mm-hmm. And there's certain games that are story-based driven primarily. Like you could say Paper Rain is a very... Heavy Rain, not Paper Rain. Heavy Rain.
I was going to say, like, what paper
I'm sorry.
raining from the
I don't
sky?
know where this is. Heavy Rain is a very story-driven game where there isn't really necessarily you're shooting people, but there's you can shoot people, but there's consequences, and you're plotting around.
You change things as you go with that game.
Right. And there's so many different outcomes based on what you decide to do. But in Tomb Raider, great trying to build this up, but I felt like it kind of made it... I lost the feeling of that narrative that they've spent so much time building once I got to a point where I can just slay dudes left and right and I'm getting experience points along the way. I'm like, okay, now I'm playing a video game. I'm not participating in a story. Does that make any sense?
Well, I mean, I agree. I just feel like there's a point where while she's in this moment, she's covered in blood and it's not any of it's hers for the most part. Mm-hmm. And I guess there's part of her brain is tuning out for as long as it possibly can until she breaks down. I haven't seen most of the game, so I don't know what's going to happen.
I don't want to say, later
on.
Right.
But like she seems kind of emotionally shook in the few cutscenes that I've seen. So I maybe they didn't figure out a mechanic.
But I think that's right. And I think that's really hard once you start a game to then try to plug something with that much gravitas in.
Yeah.
The heavy feeling, like you're not going to get that in Call of Duty, really. You know, you just blow somebody's heads off. Oh no,
you just get hit the gas pedal and do not take your foot off. If you hit the brakes, what's the point of playing?
Right. I mean, and a game like Fallout 3, I started replaying that too prior to Tomb Raider and another game we're going to talk about, Bioshock Infinite. But there's some story they tried to build in, but at the end of the day, you can just shoot everything with no real consequence. You feel bad and you lose karma.
No, you have to pay money for killing people, don't you?
Not really. No.
No, what am I thinking of? Fable.
Fable, you got to pay money.
I just started playing Fable 3.
Fable 3 is pretty good. Up to a certain point, and I lost interest in it, but we can talk about that later. I guess I was really excited about the Tomb Raider narrative, and then I got less excited. Still think it's a lot of fun, but I got a little less excited when there wasn't any repercussion and any real follow through in the subsequent action sequences after that really high emotional point.
Well, I mean, you still have the rest of the game to go, right?
Yeah, but I'm saying it's a little too easy. See what
happens. See if she gets like a super breakdown moment where she's just like in the woods and her leg's broken and she's just like, I just killed 75 dudes with a bow and arrow.
Now they could actually like put that together where they keep track of who you kill and how you kill them.
Oh, see, that would be cool.
That would be, you're welcome, game designers. If you could have a scene in a video game where it's like, I shot 42 people with my 9mm, I killed 40 with my bow and arrow. You know, if you really think about it, put it on paper, they do that with scoreboards. They conveniently mask what you're really doing in the scoreboard, which I love that concept.
In the Walking Dead game, the one that Telltale did, at the end of it, it shows you like as far as like different characters that you interacted with, and they were involved, like where their major choices were and where they died, and you know, like you chose to save this person at this point in time, you let this person die, and it's just like bam, and you're just looking at it like,
yeah,
they could have had all of this extra stuff, but nope, dead.
Oh, so they actually show you where things can go wrong.
Well, like I don't know if it's like wrong, but like
where it can branch out.
Like in the first episode, you have a split choice where you can save a girl or you can save a boy.
Right.
And most people save the girl because she's got a gun. So
right.
you choose that route. So that way, when you get through the whole game and you get to the end, for most people, they have that one guy that's there. Is like, we met him, he was pretty cool, but we let him die in the store instead of saving him. Right. You know, the girl got to live and then continues the story on.
Right.
So I mean,
that's intense.
It's the feeling that you get. I was sitting there, I was just like, oh man, I let him die. I feel really bad now.
Which would be great if they could combine that into some other games, but I don't think you can get away with that in a game like a Tomb Raider, where you have so many disposable villains that you need to have in a game to keep the story moving.
Unless you did it as every single thing is a mission, and then at the end of the mission, it's been collecting. Because, I mean, they do it for Call of Duty games and Halo, where you can replay, like, a video of, the people that basically your game, and you can chop it up however you want to make it look. So that in this game, it records the kills, and then shows you the kills at the end or something like that. Like, I could see that being...
Okay.
Because it's simple data. It's just saying, like target X1 was killed by... Right. Arrow, which is designated as like a B or something. Okay. So it'll say like in the programming, it'll be like all of these people were killed by bees. So that way, when you get to the end of like the mission or whatever, or that part in the story, it'll pop up and it'll show it as this character's face, and then it has like an arrow next to it or something like that, or a video clip of it actually happening. That'd be fun. That would be
fun. We need to listen to this and write down our notes and start working on it.
Do you want to become a game developer? I want to be a game
I'd be a game writer. You can develop.
Okay, yeah, no, I'm not that smart.
Okay, we're both dumb.
I'm pretty dumb.
We'll write the shit out of the game.
I'll test games. I'll do it. I'll test the game that we haven't made.
Let's make it.
Okay. Well,
let's fist bump over. Bam.
Start. Think of a game. Middle. Blank. End. Profit.
We're gonna give you the idea, but we don't want to put the work into actually creating it.
No,
just let us know
that's what rich people do.
Just let us know when it's done, and then we'll take care of the rest. Love, Brendan and Chris, forever. So we both have to finish Tomb Raider at some point. I'm gonna try. I think I'm gonna end up buying it. I rented it from the lovely folks at Redbox.
I won't be buying it anytime soon.
If I buy it, do you mind? Do you want to borrow it?
Maybe. Okay. I don't know, because I just got Fable, and I'm gonna be downloading Terraria.
Oh, okay. What is that?
It's like a 2D Minecraft game.
Oh, okay.
And one of my buddies, we usually like sync up whatever multiplayer game we're gonna get, and it's cool because it's like the same concept as Minecraft, where you have to build shelter and you can burrow into the earth. Except this game, you're like burrowing towards hell, and you have to like defeat these beasts.
That's cool.
So I mean, maybe I might want to borrow it. I just got done beating Skyrim like a month ago, and I still have the residuals of wanting to like Fus Roda everywhere I go.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Basically, it's your voice becomes like a magical power, so you have different shouts, and one of the shouts is like it just knocks people off their feet and sends them flying.
Can you actually say it to your Kinect?
No. Yeah, well, I don't know if they added that kind of support, but I mean, you just hit a button and if you hit it once, it does like the smallest version of it, and then if you hold it does the full.
That's
shout.
Awesome. That's Bethesda, right? Mm-hmm. Good stuff.
Yeah, see, they make good stuff.
So, in your opinion, though, would you get...
I'd play it. I'd play it, yeah. I wouldn't buy it anytime soon, though.
I'm buying it.
I'm saving my money.
For?
Grand Theft Auto 5.
We can talk about that. New screenshots were released. Mm-hmm. They look good. All right, so Tomb Raider, that's that. So the other game...
Parachutes are coming back.
I know.
Sorry.
That's all right. Okay. But the only other game that I've actually played, and I've kind of got a little bit of preview time with, I would say, is Bioshock Infinite, which came out this past Tuesday. Awesome. It is different than Bioshock. That was my first thing I was looking at as far as feel and as far as the concept. Much different.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's also content too. Like, they don't have plasmids anymore. It's like
Vigors.
Okay.
They called them Vigors, but it's the same idea.
Yeah, where you boost yourself. Yeah,
right. You drink the potions and stuff. And also, the characterization is pretty cool at this point. You are not just a nameless face and a person. You actually have a name, and you actually have a mission, and you talk and interact with people. The other thing that's really unnerving from Bioshock games is I'm used to the first two games put you in to the action after everything's gone to hell and everything's gone to shit. So you don't see anybody that's normal at all. This game starts you like everything is fine. It's really weird. You start walking through the crowd and there's like, hello, how are you? There's kids playing. There's people interacting with you.
And then like the shit hits the fan.
And the shit hits the fan. And then you're
bam, we're all racists.
Right? That part comes in. There's a racist component that really just smacks you in the face right up front. I don't know if you want me to spoil it.
No, don't. I just saw a picture online, and it just said the best way to describe the game is "Welcome to Magical Racist Town," and I was like,
"Yep,
whoa, okay. I need to play this game. I just need to see why. Why are they saying?"
I think I'm glad that they kind of kept that together, but there's just one thing that it comes in early, so I don't feel like I'm necessarily spoiling too much.
Okay. Well, it's 1919, right?
It's 1912.
1912. Okay, so still,
it's fairly racist.
White people haven't gotten any better, by that point.
But there's
probably worse.
Probably worse. But there's a mansion you go into that's like the Order of the Raven, and you walk in, and it's basically a cult that glorifies John Wilkes Booth.
Oh dear.
And it's and there's guys in hoods that are inside. They have to fight, and it says "Protect your race," and it has pictures of Lincoln as a demon. And John Wilkes Booth as an angel shooting him. And it's praising what John Wilkes Booth did.
Well, I mean, they do, the Bioshock games.
Right.
Crazy people.
They push. They really push, and they push. And it's also gorgeous to look at. There's so much detail in this game. And it's addicting. Like, I want to play it tonight. I know I'm going to play it tonight. I got it. Like, it's one of those things, like, I woke up today and I was like, I wish I didn't have to go to work because I'd be playing right now. But I absolutely have to play it, and you need time to just view it. And there's some weird things that go on, and it's already been posted online, but and I think it's leading into things they've discussed already. So I don't feel like I'm spoiling anything, but there's time rifts that are in the game where different like your partner that you eventually get, Elizabeth, can make a time rift where villains fall into it and they die, or you can pull things from it to help you.
What?
But there's a hint early on, because there's a barbershop quartet that pulls up in one of the airships and starts singing, and they're singing "God Only Knows" by the Beach Boys, and the game takes place in 1912.
Yeah, that's a jump.
Right, and it's gorgeous. It's a great acapella. I'm not a big fan of acapella. And I was like, and I sat there with the game. I just listened to the whole thing. But then I'm like, God only knows. Like, that song sounds really familiar in the sense of I've heard it on radio where it's not recent. So I looked it up. It came out in 1966. So you already have hints where there's something off. And that's not even a generated within the game by your character time rift. So there's also hints that your character is a drunk early on.
Oh.
So my initial feeling, and I have not finished
I have to get this game now.
I have not finished it. Mind you, I have not finished this game at all. I'm really only I'm literally an hour into it, which isn't even probably scratching the surface. Maybe less than 10% of the game still. I'm wondering if this is going to end up being, because Bioshock's known for twists, and there's a couple big twists apparently in this game. If this is all in the guy's head, where he's just a drunk.
Oh, no.
But I would kind of be okay with that.
No, I'm not okay with that.
If there's elements of it where...
It's like Jacob's Ladder.
Well, I'm curious to see where they go with it. I want to give Ken Levine some credit, because the man's pretty smart. Man did Thief, he did Bioshock 1, and those twists were cool in those games. But I have a feeling there's something off, and I don't know what it is.
No,
I
don't like that mechanic in game. That's what they use.
I will tell you. I'm going to try and finish it soon we can discuss it.
Okay, good, because I hope it's not like that.
I don't think it's going to be like that.
No, that is bad. That's bad for games.
Well,
it's the dumbest story mechanic. It's like a complete ripoff.
What other games are you thinking about that have
Zelda?
That? Yeah,
Zelda at the end of one Zelda game.
It's a dream.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to think of
Mario. Super Mario 2?
Yeah, Super Mario 2 is the dream one. That's annoying.
It's like it's betraying the
trust. It's
trust.
a Saint Elsewhere idea. You remember Saint Elsewhere? TV show in the early 80s? Howie Mandel was on it. Saint Elsewhere.
Oh, yeah, and it was like at the end it was like
an autistic kid And when they pan out, he has a snow globe, and the snow globe is of the St. Elsewhere Hospital. And it's all in the kid's head. Newhart did the same thing. Actually, Newhart was the best. He had the Bob Newhart show in Newhart.
That one was okay, though.
Because Newhart, at the end of it, because he was a psychiatrist in a small Vermont town, Bob Newhart show was in New York City or something like that. That's the best twist ever, where he wakes up and he's with his wife from the Bob Newhart show, and he goes, I had a really weird dream. And he goes, I dreamt I was a psychiatrist in Vermont. That was so cool.
That one was okay, though.
Yeah.
That one I could live with because it was Bob Newhart.
It was Bob Newhart.
But, no. I don't want that.
Again, I don't know. I'm suspecting, though. There has to be some sort of twist where, and it's
there might be
Bioshock,
something wrong with him. So what is it? What was the one from the first one? What was it? Will You Kindly? Is that
Would
it?
You Kindly?
Would You Kindly?
The premise of the first one is that in all first-person shooters, there is that you have to go somewhere, and usually you're going forward, and usually you're prompted by either a message or an arrow or something like that. So they have a radio system in that one where one of the main characters, Atlas, who's leading the rebellion, it says, would you kindly get the wrench from here and help me open the door? Or would you kindly help me save my... And then you don't realize it at first. And then you meet Andrew Ryan, where...
It
happens a lot. It happens a lot. And Andrew Ryan is the main guy, and it's a really hard to watch scene because... You've played it, right? Where he goes, would you kindly... He tells him basically you're a mindless dolt.
Yeah, you're a robot.
You're a robot. You may think you have will, and he's all about will and free will, but you don't. You're just a puppet. And he goes, would you kindly pick up the golf club? Would you kindly
And he
smash
can't stop himself.
You can't stop yourself. And you see the golf club come up, and he keeps saying, he goes, would you kindly hit me? And he keeps screaming it while you're smashing his face in, and then you eventually murder him with the golf club.
Yeah,
Which was awesome.
I was okay with that because that was more of it's a betrayal of your trust in the character or whatever. However, it's story plot move that things are still happening.
Right.
Like, there's progression past that.
Right.
I mean, if halfway through that game you discover that parts of it's only in his head, but some of it is actually happening,
right,
I'd be okay with that.
Right.
That's fine.
Right.
But the whole it's being imagined and...
Well, we'll see. Again, I'm only an hour in, but that's my thinking that there's going to be some
druggie from Rapture, and he's like, I got this idea of like a floating city or whatever. Hold on.
Andrew, if Andrew Ryan shows up, I'm not going to be upset. That'd be kind of funny.
I think they tried to distance themselves
Yeah.
from Rapture with this one.
Yeah.
Which is okay.
I don't know.
Unless they're not, and everyone that I've been talking to has been lying to me.
Would you kindly?
Yeah, if somebody says that in the game, I'm going to freak out. And
I
just be like, and just start hitting that person. Done.
And it's a child that says, would you kindly? Boom. Shotgun to the face.
Sorry, child.
Sorry, man-child.
You didn't know what was going to happen to you.
In the 1950s when the next game takes place. But I know you get to do the Skyhook thing. Skyhook thing is awesome.
It looks cool.
It is so cool.
They made it look a lot cooler in the commercial, but I mean...
It's a great mechanic because it's very simple, which I was nervous. I'm like, do I have to hit a lot of buttons? You hit A and that's it.
Yeah, and you're riding it, and then you can like fight other people, right?
And the justification is it's magnetic, so that's why it's right up there.
Yeah.
Which is great.
That's cool.
So easy. And the characterization is cool so far. I like interacting with the townfolk, and it makes sense, and they kind of throw you right into it with your vigors and your shooting stuff. Like, I already have 3 things I can shoot on my left hand. I have a couple guns, and I have the Skyhook, which is my melee button.
Oh, you can beat people with it?
Yeah, the melee is awesome. Pretty vicious. There's a sequence where if somebody is beat up enough, there's a skull and crossbones above their head, and you instead of tapping Y, you hold Y, and you do an animated. It's a sequence where the Skyhook is actually going, and you pick somebody up and you start grinding into their face and then throw it down. Or there's one where you go just and just grind in their face and hold it, and they go and there's blood all over, and then they fall off.
I need to play this game.
and as you beat them or shoot them, depending upon where
1912 Gears of War.
I know, right? But depending upon where it is, they have significant damage. So if you smash somebody in the face, they have like a black eye and they're bloodied.
See, that's awesome. I love reactive. You know,
so it's not just like they have the same face, even though they've been punched 5 times. They did that in the original Bioshock too. Like, you light somebody on fire, their whole body's charred.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, it's like when you shoot somebody in the leg in a game, they like stumble over, or you shoot somebody in the chest, they start to go backwards.
Right. Right. So,
but this is better.
This is way cooler.
Because you're beating them with a skyhook.
And there has to be some sort of moral system too, because there are certain characters that run away, like the townsfolk, but you can still kill them if you want.
Huh.
But it shows up as green, which is like a don't do it. They're friendly. Yeah. Whereas red is shoot. So I'm wondering, and I didn't do it because I can't do that. And we talked about this in earlier podcasts. I have a morality even when I play video games. I can't just like pop somebody in the face. I feel terrible about it.
That's because you're a good person.
I'm a good person.
I'm a terrible person.
You're like, I'll fucking kill you, lady who's painting something.
Yeah, thank you for, what is it, Modern Warfare 2, where you're walking through the airport?
Oh, the Russian airport where you can skip it? Oh my god,
just... I didn't even know it was going to be that controversial, because I read about it the next day, like, oh, everybody's freaking out about this? Oh, I did that mission like 3 times yesterday.
Because that's when you just open fire in.
Oh yeah, because I mean, at the end of it's they're nothing. They're sprites.
Right. They're pixels.
Program boxes that have no feelings.
Yet they're screaming.
Oh, they do? Oh, I couldn't hear that. The gunfire was so loud that those things are.
I have no emotion.
Well, see, I think I'm numbed because I play multiplayer all the time, and I'm used to people screaming at me while I'm playing them. So, I guess it's just
fair. That's fair.
Just blank it out, and I consider them as like more multiplayer people.
But that's my wrap on BioShock Infinite. Is that a game that you want to pick up?
Yeah, I was thinking about it because I picked up. I didn't pick up the original. I gameflied it and I beat it in a day, and I was like, it was like the best day that I had ever had.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Like, oh, it's so good. It was such a good game.
Yeah, it's such a good game.
So I might end up picking it up. I'm still holding out for my big money expenditures till later in the year.
Which, let's talk about. We teased it.
Well, Battlefield 4.
Yep. Talk about that.
Grand Theft Auto 5.
Yeah.
And Assassin's Creed 4.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be
those the big money.
Did you pre-order Assassin's Creed? You did, right?
Yeah.
I did too.
Gotta get the flag. Or, not flag.
The flag, poster.
Poster.
Todd McFarlane.
I'll make it into a flag. I'll put it outside my house.
I'm going to frame it. Honestly, I'm going to frame it. It's sitting right there on my couch. I'm looking at it. I'm like, that's a good-looking poster.
By
Todd McFarlane.
Battlefield 4 came with dog tags.
Oh.
That said Battlefield 4 on them.
You going to wear them?
No. I have them now.
That's a slap in the face, whoever made them for you.
Got some merch.
So
like a real gamer now.
Impressions on Battlefield 4. What'd you think when you saw the video?
Oh, the trailer was nuts. It starts off with them like floating upside down in the water.
Yep.
And the main guys just like tell him to shoot the window out, even though he's stuck in the sea. And then bam, right into like the action of the game. And like, it was so good that I found myself clicking and hitting buttons to play while I was watching. Because I was watching this on my Xbox. So I was, watching the trailer go through. And I was just like, LB, shit. No, I skipped. Shit. Rewind. Oh, no, what did I do?
That's awesome.
And it looks beautiful. Because, I mean, Battlefield 3 was really, really pretty. And it suffered a little bit from, like, what I like to call the God glow, where things just randomly start to shimmer and it makes it hard for you to see, people on the map. But at the same time, if you're playing in real life, you don't necessarily see things far away that are perfect, even through scopes. It's just, colors blend, light changes, what direction things you're looking at, But, I mean, this game looks good. It looks
really good. And I'm not a fan of the Battlefield original ones. So like 1, 2, and 3. But I saw this. I was like, I think I might actually pick this one up.
See, this is a game where you can throw C4 in the back. I'm quoting the guy from GameStop.
Yeah.
You can take C4, throw it in the back of your truck, drive the truck into a group of people, hop out, run away, click the C4 as it's like posted up against the wall, and somebody's running over to grab the car, like, oh, look, I got a car. Blows up in the face.
That's awesome.
And then there's planes flying overhead. There's somebody driving by in a tank. And meanwhile, at the same time, it's still a first-person shooter, so you're just like, it's...
And I noticed there's a way to mark enemies and then have your helicopter come in and shoot them.
And take care of it.
Which is awesome. And that sequence was awesome when they're going through the abandoned building area to get to the top of the tower.
Yeah.
I didn't watch it all the way, but that sequence of him driving the car was awesome. And then jumping up onto the big gun on the top, that was flawless. And I like that too. I like how you could just kind of just jumped in, not having to get out, then get back in.
I mean, they also just put a disclaimer at the beginning. That's the PC version.
Right.
That's not going to be the console version. Console version is going to be a dumbed down version of what that is because, I mean, or at least for the Xbox 360 and the PS3, if it comes out on next-gen consoles. But, I mean, like just for that little bit of time, it was so beautiful. Like, it was just like I couldn't find a flaw. I was like looking for things to not look right, and everything looked like it was supposed to be there. So good. And even like when with the part where like in the beginning where they're just rushing and they're like there's some guys behind the car over there, and he turns it to the side, so he's got the side scope.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Oh my god, so good.
That was awesome. So I like that. And then another one video that came out, Metal Gear Solid 5, which you don't just say it.
I don't like.
You don't like them.
I think they're pretty.
They're very pretty.
I think the mechanics of the game are fun to play. I don't like playing the games themselves because of the story.
If you play those games, that's like you need at least 3 to 4 hours per sit down because you'll play through, but the cutscenes are so goddamn long. They're like 10 to 15 minutes.
You also need the 2-hour mandatory therapy session afterwards to really break down what's happening to your brain.
It's very metaphysical. It's very deconstructionist. It's a very deconstructionist video game series because they take what you know and you think you know what's going on and they break it down. It's like very postmodern. It's all these things. It's just a very hard to comprehend, and you could literally, and I'm not saying this loosely, you could literally teach a course on this game and its mythology and what it connects
all
to.
The crap that's in it,
right? Because there's a lot of philosophy. You're going to say
it nice. I'm going to say it mean.
You're going to say mean. There's a lot of crap into it that has layers that really you don't get a full understanding until I remember I had to read interviews with Hideo Kojima, the director and the producer, and I'm like, oh, that's what he was trying to get, because otherwise I don't know what's happening here. Why is this dramatic? Why are they talking like this? This is so bizarre. And what he did was he released footage for a game called the Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes, and then there was a game trailer coming from Kojima Studios for Phantom Pain.
Phantom Pain, yeah.
Which was just a trailer, not gameplay footage. They did gameplay footage at E3, I think, for Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes. Come to find out, guess what? P.S. It's the same game.
Hooray!
Not sure why they did it that way, but somebody had already kind of figured that one out, where they were like, oh, this is Metal Gear 5 with the way the trailer was built, but...
Yeah, and it's like when the shadows...
Right, the shadows make out Metal Gear Solid 5, the Phantom Pain... So I think it's going to be called Metal Gear Solid 5 Phantom Pain.
It's going to be called Metal Gear Solid 5. We should stop now. Please.
Solid Snake is 150 years old, and they're still throwing him out there in the battle.
The main guy that does Snake's voice isn't even doing it this game because of MGS4. He ripped his throat up doing that. Like, he was ruined for months. Really? Yeah, because, I mean, you heard his voice in the game because he had that, like, smokers, like, I'm on my last leg.
Yeah.
So he recorded that entire game, and then after he was done, like, he couldn't do any voice acting work for a while because of it.
David Hayter, is that the guy's name that did it?
Yes, I think so, yeah. He was screwed up.
Wow.
Well, I mean, just listen to the sound of his voice. It's like Christian Bale Batman on crack. It was just bad. That's
true. That's true. But I was into it. I liked it. I like Metal Gear Solid series. I thought it was fun. I haven't played the fourth one.
I played halfway through it, and then I realized I shouldn't be playing this game anymore.
Why?
Because it's Metal Gear. That's why.
And did you get bored by it?
Yeah, I mean, I got bored halfway through MGS2. I got bored halfway through MGS1. I got bored halfway through Snake Eater. It's just like I didn't have any effort to finish the game.
You have to really be invested in the story
because it's so.
It's almost the gameplay is not the focus; it's the story that's the focus.
Yeah,
which is kind of again going back to the conversation of the medium. You know, I don't like that approach really, because then I feel like I'm watching a movie that I get to interact with occasionally, and it's not a whole lot of fun.
MGS2
is weird because you played as Raiden, which was annoying. You didn't even get to play as Snake until the halfway through.
Yeah, no, it was. I don't even want to talk about that game.
And you're on a ship that ended up being.
I don't want to talk about that game. It was a dark moment in time.
The ship that ended up being the Metal Gear. Metal Gear. That's how he sounds in the first one. Metal Gear.
Get out of the way, Raiden.
Meryl! Snake! When you die.
Snake! Snake! Snake!
You want me to do it? Want me to do my impression? Snake! Snake! Snake!
Everyone at home is deaf.
Sorry.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like that would be a good thing to have in real life. Just that
a codec.
One cool thing to take away from Metal Gear is to have the codex.
I remember I think I spent...
Maybe Raiden's High Frequency Blade and Revengeance.
Which I didn't even realize was out. It apparently came out and no one bought it.
No one bought... A lot of people bought it.
Really?
No,
I've heard nothing about it.
I mean,
I literally thought it was coming out later this year.
It got pretty good marks.
Really?
I mean, it's a game that knows what it is. It knows it's a Metal Gear game.
Right.
And it accepts its craziness. But it's like, you can chop everything.
Right.
There was I played the demo, and there was a set of stairs I had to walk up.
Yeah.
I chopped down the stairs, couldn't figure out a way to get back up. I was like, well, I mean, I know I can cut things. Great. I just screwed up the beginning of the game. I got to restart.
Just an angry person chopping everything.
Just running around.
Yeah. Well, maybe I'll pick it up just to see. Well, no, I can't. It's PlayStation only.
Yeah. That's an exclusive.
Shit. Oh, well, I don't care.
No, it's on Xbox.
It is?
Yeah, no, I was just kidding.
Do you think they're going to put Metal Gear Solid 5 on Xbox or make that
Probably.
PlayStation exclusive?
No,
Because 4 was exclusive to PlayStation,
they'll
right?
probably put it on Xbox.
That'd be nice. Or Durango, which is the codename for the new Xbox. Durango.
I'm disappointed every day that I don't hear anything new about
I know, right?
Because I think I don't want to have this thought, but I think that they know that they did something wrong
Really?
during the building process. Not necessarily the system itself, but like everything that goes into it and all of the gripes that people are talking about. Like, we want to be able to play used games, and we don't want it to be connected online all the time, and they're going to come out and they're going to be like, hey, everybody, we got the system. Yeah. And then they're going to go through all these presentations and stuff. And then right at the end, they're going to be like, by the way, you're going to have to have DRM for every game. And
yeah, that would suck.
I don't.
You look really sad now that we're talking about it.
Well, because, they should have announced it by now. They need to compete with Sony. They have to. That's their,
Especially since everything still says holiday 2013. It's coming up, man.
Maybe.
Holiday 20, whenever we get out.
I'd be okay if they waited a year and made it awesome.
Yeah, but they won't do that.
No, they won't.
Now that Nintendo Wii U, whatever the fuck it is, you, me, and you, we go together. Like Grandma Lamb and Ding Dong.
The new Nintendo Wii. Yeah. We, me, you.
We, me, you, us forever.
I thought was pretty funny. Somebody told me that ni is 2 in Japanese.
Oh.
Or maybe that's the symbol for 2. Mm-hmm. So the sequel to the Wii would be Weenie. I thought that was good.
That's good. I like that. Weenie. I like that.
Did you play Weenie today? Yeah, man, I played Weenie for like 4 hours.
I gotta get my hands on Weenie real bad. Have you held Weenie yet?
Yeah, I touched Weenie. I shook
pretty
Weenie.
Dynamic. I broke my Weenie.
I lost my Weenie controller.
My Weenie broke again. Did you have to buy a new one? Yeah, I have to buy a new Weenie.
Yeah.
It sucks, man.
It wasn't under warranty.
That Weenie was so good. Now I gotta buy a new Weenie. We are children.
Yeah, I mean, it started with boobs. After that, everything
just went downhill.
Caca. There we go. We got it out of the system.
But
feel better.
So Metal Gear Solid 5, I would buy. Will you buy?
No.
No. Okay. Talk a little bit to wrap up. Like, what's this thing you're building? You were talking to me about it on the walk.
I'm not building anything. I'm reshaping.
Talk about it. I'm so intrigued by this.
So basically, I'm taking a computer that I had that's just sitting and collecting dust, and I'm turning it into a giant Super Nintendo, which is very easy.
Awesome.
If you think about it from a computer, like if you're used to doing emulation ROMs,
right.
You just open up the emulator and do the ROMs. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get it to open up just only for the emulation, and then eventually get it able to where you can open up multiple emulators so you can play different systems,
That'd be awesome.
And then I like the hang up that I'm having right now, because I want to get gamepads down first, or controllers. Mm-hmm. I want to be able to run keyboard, Xbox, USB, and PlayStation 3 controller all at the same time. I want to have it able to do everything. And like, I have one program that I can connect my USB Xbox controller right into it, and it'll run perfectly. But then when I try to plug in a gamepad, it gets like mad because I'm like trying 2 different kinds of gamepads. So that's one thing that I'm working my way through right now.
I'm so intrigued by this, and I can't help, which sucks because I have no idea what you're talking about.
It's okay.
I think if I can invest, I'll invest.
I'm starting a Kickstarter to not sell a product, just distribute it for free. So just give me money to sit and do something.
Well, I'm telling you, build it so that you have to plug it into your home theater system, and you have an actual controller that's associated with it. If you can do that, like a box, I will buy that box.
Oh man, do you understand how many hurdles they do have these, right?
No.
Oh, they have them, like where it's a system that has multiple cartridge slots that you can put in, like, Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Genesis, and I think Atari cartridges, and it's one controller, and you just plug it into your TV and go, and it runs everything. It has every single emulation ready to go. What I want is just the ability to, because I have the master collection of Nintendo games, I want to be able to play any of those.
All of them.
Games. Yeah.
I think I like your idea better.
Oh, I know my idea's better.
Let's get going on it.
It's just the legal hurdles.
Yeah, I know. A lot of people are going to sue your ass.
Yeah. The second that I mentioned trying to get rid of it, they're going to be like, nope. That's why it's personal for me, and then I will show it and share it with my friends.
Am I your friend?
Are you going to get MGS5?
No.
Perfect. You're my
friend. Fuck you, Hideo Kojima.
No, keep making games because it gives me great pleasure to be mad at your games.
I know. Oh my god. Well, hey man, let's wrap this thing up for the day.
Okay.
What did you learn?
I learned that some creepy stuff goes on in Lara Croft games.
Yep.
I learned that Bioshock, there's some creepy stuff that goes on in those games.
Yeah.
And I think there's just some creepy stuff going on all the time.
I agree.
That's what I learned today.
Ask me what I learned.
What did you learn today, Brendan?
I learned you have a weird hate toward Hideo Kojima.
You didn't learn that today.
We're going to explore that on next week's show.
On the next episode of OBT.
Kojima! That's all that's going to be. There'll just be 1 second.
I need to get a tricky uniform so that way I can do it properly and just shake my fist.
Well, that's your OBT show for the week. I'm Brendan.
I'm Chris.
Bye.